Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching another episode of Encounter. Today, our guest is Professor Ved Thorul, who is a professional in the legal field since 5 decades. He's also an emeritus professor at law. Professor Thorul, a very warm welcome to the studios of the MBC, and thank you for being here.
Roshan, thank you very much for giving me the honor and pleasure to be here and share, maybe briefly, my modest contribution to the legal field.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. To our viewers watching us at home, many of you must be wondering, why do we have a legal professional in Encounter? The reason being because the theme that we will be discussing today is law, ethics, morality, and of course, spirituality. And this is a very specific segment of law, and this is why we have Professor Thorul with us in the studio. I have to also share that you have worked for 28 years in South Africa.
Indeed, yes.
You have also worked a lot in terms of mediation and conciliation in the legal field.
Yes.
And 50 years.
Yes.
And
still actively pursuing teaching in the legal field.
I was about to mention this because you have, during your career, you have spent a lot of time teaching law to others.
Yes.
And so can you tell us a little bit more about your journey so far before we dive into the theme we'll be speaking today?
Roshan, thank you very much for your brief introduction and as well as, getting me to be explaining my journey. In fact, my journey is all throughout, have been 50 years teaching. This is something that I cherish very much. I feel, for me, it's a response that I give to my calling, to my profession, and I feel I'm doing service to my good students and to the community.
We're talking about ethics and morality. Someone told me that it is one of the talks that you often do.
Yes.
Because people find it very interesting, and there are things that people would have never thought, but are very relevant to our daily lives and helps us become better persons.
Exactly.
In our everyday lives again.
Exactly.
So,
Roshan, I go back a little bit to your question that you asked me earlier about law, ethics, morality, and spirituality. All are inextricably connected.
All right.
They are connected, and the connection lies in the sense that what is law if it's not based on morality? The code of behavior, even at home, in society, at workplace, in the community, is based on a moral code, moral behavior. Obviously, the moral code may not be sanctionable, may not be enforceable in a court of law. If a child misbehaves at home, we can't take him to the court, okay? Because it can be sanctioned only within the parameters of the society's law.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
So now, from there on, as we say, the basis of law is morality itself, right?
So shall we give a definition to what is morality?
Yes. I'll go by, first of all, before we come to morality, we go by the natural law theory by St. Aquinas.
Okay.
What does it say? That law has been made by God. It's an ordained principles that have been given to us by God so as to follow and to regulate our conduct for right behavior. And that's morality. Morality is all about to do right against what is wrong. It is a between how to discriminate and to find a noble pathway to achieve what is right conduct, what is the right result. The outcome should be correct, and it should actually bring about social justice, satisfaction to all. Everyone should be contented, be happy. That's the basis of law and morality. But when it comes to ethics, ethics about values and behavior. When we have got professional ethics, we've got doctors, lawyers, engineers, everyone are professionals. Yes. Those professionals are guided, their conduct is regulated by ethical behavior, which is obviously the difference you make between a right decision any wrong decision.
You mentioned earlier that the reason why you have law is because it will encourage good behavior.
Yeah.
What are the right things to do? Of
Yes.
course, this is a matter of perception and it
Yes.
varies from person to person.
To person, yes.
But then, is it also what spirituality teaches us to some extent, is to be doing the right thing?
Exactly.
But spirituality goes way deeper into
way,
it.
way deeper. Way
But
deeper.
I think then law is a good start to it.
It's a bedrock. It's a foundation for we to spring forward. Now, when we talk of law, the simple definition of law, what do we understand by this? For layman's understanding, they are simply rules and regulations that regulate the conduct of human beings in a civilized society.
Society.
Yes.
Society. Okay, because spirituality is more on the individual side, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So they are rules and regulations. What are the rules? Some rules are based on moral standards, right? Some rules we are enforceable in a court of law because they've been enacted by the parliament.
All right.
Right? So there is formal law and informal law.
Okay.
Informal law would be like we have code of practice for professionals. This is informal. That is that to regulate certain professional conduct.
Is that where the good governance and ethics falls under?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So we have got, when teaching law, it has got the substance itself is not simply teaching the provisions of the law.
Okay.
What is behind those provisions? What has created that social engineering to actually bring about such laws? We take, for example, protection against domestic violence. It was never there before.
Okay.
Why family law now has got some regulations concerning law of divorce? Where did we hear in spirituality that we had divorce? Where did we see in spirituality we need to have protection against domestic violence? These are ingrained principles already ordained by natural law theory that we must respect human beings.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bringing up the self-worth in a person. So therefore, we have to be careful whenever we are actually enforcing laws or provisions of the law. We should not forget there is a morality. The foundation of that that's the bedrock. That's an important part of it. When we are interpreting law, for example, we have 3 levels of interpretation of the law, right? One is what you call the literal theory. What we see in front of us, I saw this person hitting the other one. My literal interpretation is that he is guilty as alleged. But then we go to the next golden principle. We say, why did you do that? That's the spirituality part that leads us now towards reasoning, critical thinking, right? Why did you do that? So it means that the natural law theory again comes in, which is about rules of natural justice.
Okay.
The rules of natural justice will always say that hear the other side of the story before you pronounce a verdict, a judgment.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. Next is that.
Would the third one be how can you avoid it in the future?
Yes, that's the golden principle. And the third one is obviously we call the mischief rule, interpretation by mischief rule, which means that what is the rule that was behind in the mind of the legislator at that time when he was thinking of promulgating this law.
All right, Professor Thorul, we'll get more into this, but in the meantime, we'll invite you and the viewers at home to watch this following report on a little bit more definition about what is law and how it pertains to ethics, morality, and spirituality. And we'll be back shortly. Can be seen as the activity of subjecting human conduct to the governance of rules. The evolution of law began before history was recorded, with laws built up one by one as disputes were settled. In fact, the development of rules in society predates both courts and the written law. For thousands of years, customary and private legal systems alone ordered human activities. The power of customary law is found in the fact that it is reflected in the conduct of people towards one another. The further a society moves away from customary and private law systems, the greater the need for laws coercively enforced by the state. The law is essentially discovered, not made. Law is a systemic discovery process involving the historical experiences of successive generations. Law reflects and embodies the experiences of all men who have ever lived. Welcome back. You're still watching Encounter, and Professor Thorul is still with us in the studio. You mentioned earlier is always when there is an offender, we always try to listen to both sides of the story, which is also very important. But the most important in it all is to find the truth, which is probably one of the most important. But finding the truth is also what spirituality teaches us. And I think this is where probably you can give us a little bit more, you can shed a bit more light on your thoughts about it, please.
Roshan, this is the most pertinent question. And I feel that this is what needs to be answered. And the point that you have raised is that where are the commonalities between law, ethics, morality, and spirituality? There must be a chain connecting all these, definitely, right? And you have raised that issue about truth. Whenever there is an articulation on a subject matter, whether there is a reflection on a subject matter that has got legal issues, legal implications, we cannot say outright that this is the truth. It's not possible.
No.
That reminds me of a session that I was conducting in the class with the LLB students. It was the subject jurisprudence, which is the legal theory.
Jurisprudence?
Jurisprudence.
What does that mean?
It's a legal theory, or we can call it legal philosophy. And philosophy, as you know by the name itself, is very profound, is very deep. It goes to the roots of things. Now we are talking about going to the roots, a very important topic, which is truth, which has got spiritual connotations. We don't have an outright answer to this unless we go through a process.
All right.
We have got the various shades of truth. I call it elusive shades of truth because it's eluded. You cannot get it firsthand. We take a court session. There is argumentation going, and arguments are being presented in order to convince the judge or the magistrate that this person is accused of assault and he should be proven guilty as alleged.
Of course. Yep.
That's the prosecution.
Yes.
The defense will say that my client is innocent and he could have done it in self-defense. That's another truth, and both are valid truth.
For a magistrate to find the truth after hearing both sides,
Yes.
this could be quite a headache.
It is indeed what we require in the whole process, what you call judicial independence. Judicial independence is that theory or that practice, we can call it, whereby a person has got an impartial outlook. He's got an objective perception. He looks at it some very detached, unbiased manner. He has got his own way of interpretation. Definitely, as the process in the court goes, is that he will be aligning, or most probably will agree on the convincing arguments of any of the counsels.
Okay.
He will do that. But more so, he's got a bit of judicial independence as well, where the edge of spirituality comes in. He will not go out of the limits of the law to actually say, to defy what has been argued. He will not do that. But what he will see, there must be some edge that he will have to put his own, maybe his own mental faculty, his own mental, interpretation of things. Then he is going to give the right answer, because then it will be more balanced. because that final truth is very important. But then the question, Roshan, again is that the final truth?
It's an interpretation at the end of the day.
Exactly. It's not the final truth, because we are guided by simply by rules and regulations of court procedures. So being convinced by the series of argumentation by each counsel is not actually telling us, demonstrating the path to the right truth. Who go by humane considerations, being empathetic, they go a little bit beyond what has been presented and argued in front of him or her. But we have got this edge, this part that we find is very important in order to bring the humane aspect in the decision making. So that's the spiritual part that we need to encourage, to enhance, to bring up, so as to make ourselves a holistic person in terms of understanding man, human nature, and their activities, their behavior, their characteristics, their attitudes towards one, towards the other. When you come to mediation, for example, there are rules of mediation. But the beauty of mediation is that we try to understand, we go a little bit beyond. That's what Stephen Covey has said. We have to look for the third alternative. The third alternative is a definitely proactive measure, whereby we go beyond the conflictual situation, because both parties want to prove that the conflict presented to the mediator, they have got some rationale, some reason to believe they are right. But then, maybe in many cases, the problem, the conflict is not resolved, because they are quite adamant, they are quite obstinate in their interest.
Of course.
They want to show that I want to get 25% salary increase. The employer is saying, no, you will get only 5%. So it's a bit of reconciliation between 5 and 25%. How do we do that? This is where the spirituality again comes in. Because managing conflict at work is not simply a matter of looking at the problem only.
Okay.
But it is a matter of managing intrapersonal and interpersonal.
Okay.
Intrapersonal, this is where the spirituality comes in, where we are enhancing our potential, our capacities, our competences to actually look at the situation from a challenging point of view, that how do I have to resolve this conflict? First of all, I got to work out on all my skills. Obviously, there is a mental skill, moral skill, emotional skill, intellectual skill, and the spiritual skill. All these are the skills are to be put together in managing a conflict at work. It's not easy.
That also relates a bit to all the conflicts we have personally also. It's the same ethics at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Between wanting to do something better and
Yes.
Being tempted to do something which is less
Different,
good.
yes. Maybe deviating, right? But this
But the principles remain the same.
same rules remain the same. We are talking about law here, rules. All are conducted, regulated, and being carried out in strict formality of the law. We got to respect the law. Because a mediator, whenever he does mediation, or even an arbitrator, he follows rules. We cannot step beyond those rules. So law, as it is, it's a pervasive phenomenon, it's a pervasive discipline that it affects every day in our life, everywhere. Starting from home, Roshan, you told me to come here at certain time, rules. I got to respect that. By respecting the rules, I'm respecting Roshan.
Okay.
That's spirituality.
Oh, wow. And I have to ask you this. You have been a teacher, you have been speaking a lot about ethics, morality, and spirituality with regards to law. What is your motivation for doing it? Why do you feel it is so important for you to share this message?
Very good question again. We go by the Maslow's theory.
Okay.
Where there is the highest point is called self-actualization, where you are impelled by your intrinsic willingness to help others. When you have come to the point of satisfaction, right? We got our daily bread, shelter, clothing, and we go for reputation, and we go for for achievement and all that. When we have achieved all this, then what remains the rest? That's what we call self-actualization.
Yeah, the rest is not important then.
You're impelled by your own intrinsic values that I want to just, why did you call me here, Roshan? In order to serve, to guide, in order to share my experiences. And that goes unconditional, selfless service. That's spiritual.
Oh, wow. So, and you would encourage everyone also to do the same? Would it make a better society?
Ultimately, when I was speaking to in one of the presentations, it was about, selfless service. Then one very young person, professional, stood up and asked me, Professor, tell me, now you're telling us selfless service. Now I am working. Do you mean to say that I'm working for certain companies, I should work for free?
It's a good question.
I say, I didn't ask you, I didn't tell you that. What selfless service means? Whatever job you do it as if you put your heart in that. Your strong willingness to do it, because the reward of payment and salary will automatically come. We don't go to work every day. We're saying that today out of 10,000 rupees, I've worked for 100 rupees. I don't say that.
No.
It's only at the month end that it is credited to my bank account. So all the 30 days, it was selfless work. That is what is paid. Then we got harmony at the workplace. Then we got understanding at the work. Willingness to cooperate in order to make life better in the workplace. Otherwise, it doesn't work that way. That's spirituality.
Professor Thorul, Professor Emeritus of Law, of the Faculty of Law. What is your motto? If we are almost drawing to the end of this interview, the time just flew by.
Yes.
Is there a message that you would like to share which probably relates to your motto in life, and maybe you would like that message to reach out to more people?
Exactly. Thank you very much, Roshan. This is also quite a very profound, a deep question that needs reflection. I would simply say everyone is born with a mission in life. Do we know that? Have we uncovered? Have we disclosed? Have we opened it to find out who we are? Who are we? If we know that we have got this mission, and I am drawing, I'm building, empowering myself, I'm capacitating myself, I'm building knowledge, information in order to serve that mission, that is the greatest achievement. Because first of all is knowing oneself. Secondly, knowing my mission in life. And thirdly, what are the strategies, techniques, and methods and steps I'm taking to achieve that mission. That's for everyone.
Oh, beautiful. Beautifully said, and thank you for sharing your insights and motto, Professor Thorul.
Yes.
And to our viewers at home, in the previous episodes of Encounter, in the previous seasons, we have discussed how you can hopefully achieve, discover your mission, what we have to do in life. So there are plenty of episodes that you can watch. On this note, Professor, thank you very much for being here with us. It has been an honor having you on in the studio too for an encounter.
Yes.
And I hope it was a good platform to reach out to people. And I hope there's a takeaway for everyone.
Yes.
Because I'm very aware it's a different topic than what we normally speak.
Yes.
For encounter.
Yes.
But it had to be shared.
Indeed.
Indeed. So thank you very much again, and all the best with your teaching and all you do. And on behalf of all the students that you have positively affected their lives, a big thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Roshan. Finally, as you said, that the pleasure and honor is shared.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. If you have any queries or questions on the guest or on the topic that was discussed, drop me an email. It's encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Until the very next program, goodbye.